8 o'clock Queensland time. That means we're doing our LinkedIn Live. And today I have Brendan Gibson with me, and I'm super excited. We just had a quick chat before we went live, and we figured out that we've known each other since about 2017. But we've been hanging out quite a bit in our entrepreneurs organization journey over the years. But as you do, you sort of ships in the night, you sort of sit at an event and you talk a little bit about business and a little bit about the family, but never, when do you get a chance to sort of sit together for 45 to 50 minutes and to really dive deep into what makes Brendan tick? So before you can say hello, Brendan, I'm just going to give you your formal LinkedIn about Brendan story. You've worked in the IT industry for over 20 years, and not only do you have a comprehensive understanding of all things tech, you actually love your job. And you have a passion for ensuring the organization's IT infrastructure is running to the best of its ability and finding the right solution to your technology issues, which is one of your greatest joys. But that's not it. There is so much more to the person who is Brendan. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I probably need to update that a little bit, hey?
Yeah, I was thinking that as well when I read that. And we're like, yeah, that probably would have been true like 3, 4 years ago, but yeah, it may need a little bit of an update.
Yeah.
So when you go and meet new people, how do you introduce yourself, Brendan?
Yeah, I'm Brendan.
Hi,
Uh,
I'm
yeah,
shy.
yeah, I'm shy. I'm not good at talking to people. Um, yeah, no, it depends which event, I guess. Yeah, it depends. And if we talk about business and if we talk about a journey and yeah, just depends on which event, I guess.
Okay, so you go to an IT event. How do you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so we're an Australian-based MSP, but we're focused on protection and making sure our clients have peace of mind.
Mhm.
And yeah, we try and protect them, and we do some pretty funky stuff like make sure that we find out who the people in the organization that might be leaking information out that they shouldn't when they get that fake Google email or fake
Mhm.
Microsoft email or PayPal or all the fun emails,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So would you say that because your business name is, or the company that you own is Inspired?
hmm
So would you say that Inspired really focuses on cybersecurity, cyber threat hunting, or more the awareness side of cybersecurity and managing of IT services?
yeah. So it is really the awareness and educating our clients in
Hmm.
and like keeping their day to day running on a protected plan, but then
Hmm.
actually going, okay, well, what's the strategy? Where are some weak points? Are you aligned with Essential Eight? Are you which is the government standards of cybersecurity, and yeah, so we try and have that strategic approach, not just reactive. And I don't the word proactive gets thrown around so much, but
Hmm.
we try and have those quarterly meetings strategically with our clients, and and give them options about we recommend this, and they can go from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So now we talk a lot with our clients about the fact that you don't know what you don't know. And especially within cybersecurity, that's a big given.
Yeah.
So how do you approach it? How do you provide that clarity for your clients so that they understand what it is that they need to know?
Yeah, I'll touch on one piece. And I was actually I was just recently at Hamilton Island for an EO conference with you, and I was doing the run up the hill, and I was speaking to another business owner, and um, I was telling them what we do, and and I said something about the dark web. He goes, oh, I'm fascinated with the dark web, and it's sort of, he's like, yeah, what can you tell me? And so I said, well, one of the things we do for our clients is we monitor them 24/7 for any dark web breaches.
Mm.
So, like, let's say you've gone and registered on LinkedIn and LinkedIn gets hacked and all your personally identifiable information potentially is now exposed on the dark web and being sold. Some of these hackers are earning millions of dollars a month,
Mm,
and he's like, "Oh, can you do a search on me?" And so you can see it's a hot topic, and
mm,
it has been for the last few years. We've been talking about this a lot and offering this to our clients. And then you bring up, hey, is your password start with these first four letters? They're like, yeah, I use that at 4 different locations. Yeah, you might want to change that. So yeah, so that's an example
yeah,
I guess compliance and just keeping on top of that for clients
yeah,
and trying to do something a bit different.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
not just install antivirus and then go, hey, you're done.
Yeah, exactly. So the education component is such a big part of it.
Mm,
And on the topic of passwords and security, I read an article yesterday that the Australian government is putting in subsidies for work from home to give I think they've put like 100 million or something. I can't remember the amount, but a decent amount of money for the purchase of laptops and work from home equipment. There was no mention of any cybersecurity training, education, or anything around that. So,
yeah.
how would you see that as an opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, our target is businesses, and
Mm,
it's really hard. But if we look at the businesses that we look after, that's where some of the phishing testing comes in. And I'm not talking phishing for brim or mackerel. I'm talking about those fake emails and going, right, who in your organization, whether they're at home or whether they're at work, is is entering stuff that they shouldn't be,
yeah.
and it's identity theft. And how do we okay, Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer, this is what we found. These group
Mm,
of your staff have been leaking information out or entering details where they shouldn't be. We want to provide some education, and so then we have some courses where they do like
mm,
an online quiz, and then
yeah.
it educates them. And so yeah, we're pretty passionate about that. Yeah, it's really amazing to see the results actually.
Mm. So, what results in what way?
It's amazing to see the results of how many people are letting information out, not knowing,
Mm,
and then having a course that they can do online. Okay, you leaked information, your first name, your last name, your date of birth out, and they didn't even try hard. Now they're doing a course on, okay, let's be a bit more protected. Let's be a bit more aware of
mm,
when we enter data so willy-nilly into a form,
yeah.
you're actually exposing yourself.
Yeah, yeah, makes total sense. So from that point of view, from an education point of view, I always find that a lot of executives, IT, senior staff, you need to make decisions, especially when you talk about phishing, cybersecurity, privacy leaks. You need to make decisions fairly quickly and often based on a gut feeling. So I
Mm,
find that a lot of people in a lot of organizations make decisions based on assumptions rather
mm.
than data driven decisions. So, how would you recommend an IT director or a CIO educate themselves in relation to cybersecurity? What is it that they need to know? What is the number one question? Let's ask it this way. What is the number one question an IT director or CIO needs to ask
Yeah.
to be able to make data driven decisions rather than.
Mm. I'll probably answer that a different way because what I see out there, and I even just got off a call this morning, doing some coaching with an IT company in the States, and they um, a lot of things are constrained by cost. So
Mm,
decisions are not made, as you say, with data driven, or like they're not. How much risk is really the
mm,
question. Do they want? Okay, and one of the questions we ask our clients, okay, if everything was to get hacked right now, if your email, you've just lost all emails, it's all gone, all your folders are encrypted. How are you going to get that back? Like,
mm,
if you go through normal channels, it can take ages. This is downtime for your business. How much time can you afford? This is the golden question. How much time can you afford of downtime before your business really
mm,
suffers? Is it 8 hours? Is it 1 hour? and I can tell you most clients go, I don't want any downtime. Okay,
Mm.
cool. Understand that. Are you happy to have a complete secondary location that automatically fail? Like, oh
Yeah.
no, I don't want to spend that money. And so it's just about educating them to go, here are some options. Here are some
Mm.
low cost, mid tier, more premium options,
Mm.
and and having that conversation with them. But one of the things that we do is we look at it, I guess we phase it a bit. So let's protect their gateway with a good firewall. Let's make sure that that's secure. Let's make sure that things are backed up. And what we say to clients is, we can't promise you that we're going to protect you against a cyber attack. We can't give you that guarantee. Yes, we're protected services provider. Yes, we try and do all this stuff, but we try and minimize the risk. And so we back up Office 365.
Yeah.
People don't even know about Teams. Like, are you backing your Teams data up?
Mm.
Microsoft Teams. How much data is in Microsoft Teams now? And so it's about going that detailed with them,
Yeah.
and making sure that we can cover a lot of bases. But yeah,
Yeah.
minimizing their risk
Yeah.
and understanding their recovery point objectives and how much time they can lose.
Yeah.
Does that make
So
sense?
yeah, no, totally. It's a bit of a throwback for me, actually. Like, years ago when I was an ITIL service management training and trainer and consultant,
Yeah.
um, one of my clients actually, they did work for the Port of Rotterdam, and we were talking about
Mm.
availability management and IT service continuity management in relation to disaster recovery. And he was like, "Don't need to talk about it, just do it." And
Mm.
I'm like, well, let's have a study. He goes, no, there's so much money going through this port.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And that's basically what his client has said. He said, like, IT service continuity management is, yes, have the second setup. Yes, have this, have that, because not having the port flowing is going to cost so much more money than any IT solution that you
Mhm.
can put in place. So I always kept that in the back of my mind of it's it's the same with governance for me. Like, governance is, to what level, to what
Mm.
extent do you need to have governance rules and regulations in place?
Yes.
What makes sense for you, for your organization? Okay, I'm stepping off my teacher box now.
No, no. I'll just finish. I'll just sort of touch on one thing. So that's why when we designed the plans, and I guess we'll talk about how Leon and I came together in the
Hmm.
merger recently. But when we go, okay, what do we want to include in the plan? We've tried to make it part of the day to day. And
Yeah.
so Office 365 backup, SharePoint, Teams, all that's getting backed up day to day. Most people go, look, it's all in Google or it's all in Microsoft. It's all backed up.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Mm.
what
Mm.
happens? Like, what
Whatever
happens
if
if
they
something
get
happens?
hacked.
Yeah, how long do you want to wait for a restore? There's a whole lot of different factors
Yeah.
there that people don't consider. Whereas I can say, like, to a customer the other day, he said, I've got an email from 5 years ago. I need to
Mm.
get it back. We can literally pinpoint the email, restore it straight back into his
Yeah.
inbox,
Yeah.
and make it really easy. So
Yeah.
that's why we've tried to go, okay, let's just make our plan have that, because then it's gonna tick a few boxes.
Yeah. So listening to you talk, and like with a business that specializes in, cybersecurity, education, help, support, etc., it almost sounds like a license to print money. So your business over the last 3-4 years must have been doing really, really well.
I feel like that was a trick question, but very good. Um, okay, insert segue. So look, there is a lot of opportunity at the moment, and if someone gets hacked, people go, just fix it. I just want it fixed. It's about preventing that. But I guess talking a little bit closer to home. So 2019, I 2019, it was June, and I didn't, some people might find this hard to believe, but I didn't even know how to read a balance sheet. But I came back from an overseas trip. Our revenue, I don't mind sharing, was about 2.1 mil for the year. And we looked at the profit and loss statement, and it was negative $30,000. Looking a bit deeper with the accountant, the balance sheet showed something like negative $150,000 in negative net equity. And it got me to a point of going, why am I doing this? Like, I should just
Mm.
go work for someone. It's so stressful. And when I understood it, it was actually my own fault. I'd taken too much money out of the business,
Mm.
and I, so I felt really responsible in that respect. A mate told me to read this book, and it was called Profit First. And anyone who knows me is probably sick of hearing this story, but that's okay. For those of you who don't, we can go through it. So read this book called Profit First by Mike McCallowitz, and I'm like, yeah, this is me. And he was in IT as well, so it was like, yeah, really resonated with me. And I said, right, I've got to do this. So I started doing the transfers, like basically setting up different bank accounts and then transferring the money to the different bank accounts. Um, Even had an account, like the book said, create an account called Profit, an actual
Mm.
bank account called Profit, and just start putting 1% in there. So I started doing that and getting that rhythm going, and uh, just so excited. I actually ended up then talking to a good mate of mine, and I said, "You need to implement this in your business." I remember sitting in a hotel room with Leon, and and we implemented it in his business, and we kept each other accountable. I'll come back to that in a minute, but within 60 days, I was cash flow positive. Within 6 months, I'd repaid the negative $152,000 negative net equity. Um, and I was so passionate about helping, and um, I just loved the principles of Profit First, and I loved it. It really aligned with me because I love to
Mm.
help people, and I love to see change. I love to see um, things grow and a strategy come to fruition. And I was speaking from my own personal experience. It wasn't like I was
Mm.
here like I wasn't here as a coach going, you need to do this. Like I was
Yeah.
saying, this is actually the hard numbers. Um, and so I went from 2.1 mil revenue, and then in 2020 I was 1.8, but then I think it was like $350,000 net profit. So it's a
Mm.
complete transformation.
Yeah.
So I was just so excited, and I remember reaching out to the CEO of Profit First Australia, and I said, "Look, I really want to get involved, Laura." And we had a meeting, and I know I'm a bit different. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a bookkeeper. I probably wear the coaching hat, and I'm an IT guy. And she's like, "I think you're perfect." And so I
Mm.
actually went down the path of then becoming certified as a
Mm.
Profit First professional. Um, and it's just been great. It's been a great
Yeah.
community. Um,
So tell me a bit more about that Profit First, because just putting money in different bank accounts is probably not the only thing that you did,
mhm.
because that makes it sound a little bit easy. What was in hindsight, 2020 hindsight, it wasn't 2020. Um, what was the major shift in your business? What did you do differently?
Mhm. Okay, so you said it's not that simple. It actually can be, and I guess it's so simple, but a large percentage of businesses worldwide don't do it,
Mm.
and a lot of businesses aren't profitable, and they might show profitable like I did, but they don't have the cash in the bank. So
Mm.
it's there's a couple of things and if you look at a plate, if you look at like a plate of food, you usually eat what's on that plate of food. If there's a chocolate biscuit on the plate, you pretty much consume the whole biscuit. But if I had have like broken the biscuit and put it on different plates, then there's some left for it. Hopefully it doesn't go moldy, but there's some left for later. Um, and you consume what you have. So if you have it all in one bank account, you are just going to consume what's in the bank account, which I did.
Mm.
So by having a system, by having a repeated every fortnight transferring whatever is in the bucket, the revenue
Mhm.
account, putting a percentage to tax, putting a percentage to profit, putting some to owner's pay, actually
Mm.
putting some to operating expenses. You are very, if you're running out of money. Either your pricing's not right. So I actually put my prices up. You find you're spending too much time on costs, like your costs are too high. So you look at okay, how do you negotiate your costs down? How do we find a better way? How do we do things differently? And so it is a multi-tiered approach, but you need to start somewhere. You need to start with those transfers. And if you, let's say, for example, I've allocated 75% to transferring to an operating expenses account to handle that fortnight's expenses. And let's say I run out, it just goes. I'm either I need to increase my percentage and lower something else. You've only got 100% to work with.
Yeah.
And I was probably running at 150%. Like I was taking
Mm.
more, which is why I got myself into the mess I was in. So yeah, it was quite simply, I read the book, followed what it said, implemented it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And how did you get your staff on board? How did you
Good question.
build the culture in the team around Profit First?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Because since I've worked with a few customers, a few clients on implementing Profit First, and it's very different. But the way I did it is I was actually quite transparent with the team. I told them, I said, guys, we haven't had a good year. I'm committed to improving this and fixing it. It's my fault. And it wasn't just with the staff I had to have the conversation. I was actually telling clients. I was just saying we can't sustain what we've been doing.
Mm.
We hadn't had a price increase in a couple of years. We hadn't. It made me rethink how we do things and how we were smarter
Mm.
about delivering the service that we were
Yeah.
selling. But Leon and so did that answer that? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Leon and I kept each other accountable, and that's the other thing. We were having a fortnightly meeting, and we were looking at each other's bank balances, like in terms of the trends. It's really exciting to actually look back now and see that our trends were very similar. His business transformed as well, so it was really exciting to see that both our businesses were changing. We were challenging each other. He was having this problem, I was having this problem,
Mm.
and we actually found that we would complement each other. Like we were struggling. Yeah, we
And
were.
Leon was a friend with a totally different business somewhere else.
Yeah, so Leon's was based in New South Wales,
Mhm.
and he
I'm
had
just asking,
he
like, how are you so open
yeah
with another person about
yeah
your business and everything that's happening?
yeah. So he's one of my closest mates. We met at a technical course back in 2013,
Mhm.
and just kept in contact. And we've always kind of been like that, just quite vulnerable. And yeah, that's how it sort of, well, there was a friendship there, I guess, is the quick answer. So um, but yeah, his challenges were my strengths, and my challenges was his
Mm.
strengths. And
Yeah.
so we'd be looking at the data, we'd be looking at the numbers. He'd be showing me what his average hours on a ticket would be, and I'd be showing him mine, and we'd go, okay, well, how are you getting to that? Like, that's impressive. And he'd be like, how are you getting that for that? Like, how are you
Mm.
selling it at that price? And so um, that then started a conversation of Leon repeatedly asking me we should merge. Um,
Mm.
and I said, no, I don't really want to merge. We're both profitable. We're happy. Like, what, you know? And he's like, we can be better together. Anyway, eventually, we actually explored it and sussed it out. And we merged on February the 1st last year in the middle of
Wow,
COVID.
cool. That's exciting and
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah.
So how does that process work? Because immediately my compliance bells are starting to ring. Like going through that process is very much, you were already open and you already knew a lot what was going on in each other's businesses. But
Mm.
it's one thing to talk about it, and it's another thing to have a full on due diligence process and have it everything documented, because you need to come to evaluation. And so how is that process? What happened?
Yeah. So
What
I
did you
guess,
learn from that, most importantly?
what did I learn from it? Yeah. Okay. So I'll answer the first piece. So I think it's about getting experts doing expert things. You need the right people. We had great people around us. We had great accountants. We had the right legals, and you work through it. Um, It was very fast. Like we did that very quickly. I
Mm.
think the one thing is maybe not do it so quickly next time. But in
Why?
saying that, oh, it just felt really like I think just to give you some context, I think we were talking in October. He flew up here, I flew down there. We did the bit of due diligence, met the team, um, and then we were merged in February 1st. Like it
Mm.
was very quick, and
Over the Christmas period.
yeah, exactly. So it just shows you though that the power of when you do work together. What I've learned is that we're a great team, and
Mm.
what I've learned is that we can get through hard stuff like conversations that what happens in this situation, and um, uh, make make sure you've got a really good shareholders agreement. Make sure
Mm.
it covers people in those situations, and if the worst was to happen, what is going to happen? Like what happens? And I'll touch on something that did happen when just shortly after we merged, not with Leon and I, but with other circumstances. But yeah, I probably wouldn't do it as quick next time.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, we've kicked a lot of goals, and
Mm.
it's amazing what we've achieved in
Yeah.
such a short space of time in a year.
Yeah. So I've heard somewhere that entrepreneurs thrive on chaos. Uh,
Don't know where you
what
heard that.
I don't know why I heard that, but what I'm hearing you say is 2019 was a good year, but we made no profit. It was a bit of a coming to terms with reality moment. That's when you started implementing profit first in your own organization. So that was 1920. A
Hmm.
lot of change for your team, a lot of change for your organization, for your clients, for your vendors. Then you had that sort of up and running. Then you decide to start a merger process with Leon to merge the two companies together and have that finalized in February 2021. So within the space of, say, 18 months, it's almost like a wedding, a divorce, a move, birth of a child. Let's whack it all into your business life. Was that planned?
No, none of
So
it.
how did you
None of it.
manage how did you manage that with your team?
Yeah, bringing two cultures together was. I think I'll take a step back. When Leon and I were doing the due diligence, we sat down and we actually said, okay, what do we want our core values to be? Who do we want on the bus?
Mm,
We actually looked at that who's the foundation of, yeah, when we hire people, who do we want? Um, we looked at what is our goal, like in terms of what's our big, hairy, audacious goal? What do we want to target? What are our numbers look like in
mm,
3 years, in 5 years? What does that look like? And we sat down, we worked it out. Following a bit of systems like traction and scaling up, a
mm,
bit of a combination of the both. Um, we wanted to make sure that profit first was absolutely. It's been such um, a significant part. We didn't want to stop that.
mm,
Um, and and so we looked at it there. We started. What is our why? You know, we want to protect businesses, small to medium enterprises from threats, and on a plan basically, and make sure they have peace of mind. And so we started with that. We were very clear on that, and we built it from there. Um, I think in terms of the staff, I think we've done tremendously well. Um, and I'm not saying that we haven't had issues. We
yeah,
haven't had to have constructive conversations.
mm,
Uh, and you got to remember we're two leadership teams coming together as well.
mm,
And we just had a quarterly meeting recently, and one of the things I said that's been working really well is our leadership team and our culture has come together
mm,
so well, considering what we've been through. Like a merger. And
mm,
I think it's really important that you are aligned,
mm,
and that's like any relationship, right? If you're in a marriage with or in a business partnership or anything, you need to be aligned. You need
mm,
to share the same goals, the same vision for the company, and be really clear about what systems you're using so that it doesn't become points of contention. And if it does come a point of contention, you can discuss it maturely, professionally, and move forward with the goals that you've agreed to.
yeah.
um, and I think we've done that quite well. I think
Yeah.
Leon and I have been very aligned, and I think that echoes through the organisation. It creates. I think that's been a secret to it
Mm.
working so well.
Yeah. So with you mentioned your leadership team and the culture, and profit first being a core component of that. How has the merger and the current company changed in relation to what you look for in people?
Um,
Like at the beginning, at the hiring and induction side of the process. Because
yeah.
I know
So we.
you're a systems and process man, so you
Yeah.
you have thought about that.
Yeah. So I guess what we gained is a lot of different skill sets when we did merge together, and people that we like roles that we'd never used to have. So like someone focusing on business process and training and that,
Mm,
someone focusing on heading up the professional services team, someone heading up our support team, and it actually created more roles and more. It actually can create more headaches because there's more to
mm,
do then because you find other issues,
mm,
but. Uh, and I guess the reason I say that is because that then comes into what is our onboarding process? What experience do we give staff when they first join? What is the hiring process? So we've always followed um, Brad and Jeff Smart's top grading
mhm.
process. So our interviews go for a few hours usually after we've done the screening, and we are looking for people that align with our core values. So
Yeah,
never leave a customer worse off, find a better way, respectfully give and receive the feedback, um, and be fun and friendly.
yeah,
So we're looking for that in the people that we hire,
yeah,
uh, and it has made such a difference when you do follow a system like that,
yeah.
because and you ask questions that align with those core values.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I think that's
And
been the secret. Yeah.
yeah, no, no. I like the simplicity and it not being easy, because I've gone through the top grading process with our staff, our
Hmm.
team, and it's intense. But you do find the gems. You do find the people that really really
Hmm.
align with your culture and your core values.
Yeah.
So that's but the other thing that I'm thinking is, all that happened through COVID,
Mm.
when there was lots of lockdowns, when there was lots of business disruption,
Yeah.
work from home started. How do you keep your culture alive when everybody is in different locations?
Yeah, great question. And we're spread across 3 locations as well. So we've
Mm,
got well, four, yeah, Philippines, Central Coast, New South Wales, and Brisbane. So uh, it is, and also you go from having two different companies. You don't want that
mm.
us and them
Yeah.
mentality. So we've been really focused as a leadership, and we don't want that. Like, let's
Mm,
get rid of that language, because we are one. Like, we are a team together. um, we're the one company now, and so some of the things that we've done that have been quite effective, but they do wear a bit long in the tooth when you've been doing them for a while with the COVID and that sort of thing. um, we do things like social Fridays. So people
mm,
will hop on and they'll do online Pictionary, and so it just allows us to mix. We bring drinks and just have a bit of a hangout, and so do online Pictionary. I'm known to be the worst drawer in the company, and I think there's a SharePoint page somewhere, or maybe a Teams channel that's dedicated to Brendan's horrible drawings, and yeah, they're pretty funny. They're pretty funny. Um, so we do that. The other thing we do is we have a badge system. And so everything's about the core values, right? So if I say, Ivanka, I really love that you're fun and friendly. And so I'll give you a badge, and then you can use the points that you get on from that badge,
mm,
once you've built enough up, on our store. And our store has like gift cards, or hey, you want a new office
mm,
chair, or you want to give money to people struggling that don't have water. So
mm,
there's a bit for everybody on there. So we do that. Um, we're very systemized in terms of we have daily huddles, we have monthly meetings, we've got um, and COVID was hard because we were trying to travel to New South Wales, and then we'd have premiers say we're shutting the borders, and we couldn't get back, and like if you don't get back in time, you're sort of here, and so yeah, that definitely did provide a challenge, but we got
Yeah.
through it. We got
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah. The other thing you hear a lot with remote teams, especially through COVID, because there wasn't that face-to-face human interaction, and we noticed it last week on Hamilton how everybody's just craving
Yeah.
that person in person. Um, it's almost like soaking up each other's energy. So
Yeah.
there's a lot to say about mental health in work from home situations. And I know mental health is a topic that is very close to your heart. So I
Mm.
am assuming that you are very vigilant around mental health in your business. So how do you monitor, support,
Mm.
maintain or boost mental health and morale with your remote teams?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So, um, every single week we have a thing called an issues list, following the traction sort of methodology.
Mhm.
And the issue list comes up, and one of the issues things was, through COVID, one of the leadership team members raised about mental health and how people were, that what are we going to do about some kind of assistance for people. Um, and yes, it is something very close to my heart, and I'd be happy to share if time willing. But but essentially, um, one of our quarterly rocks by our operations manager was to look at employee assistance programs. And so we've actually partnered with a company that offer counselling, offer for our staff. They can call confidentially. We've got posters up around our offices. We've got wallpapers. We've got uh, uh, there's so many different things that they can offer for all staff, and it's just great. And so it's there. It's there if they need it. They know it's there. Uh, and uh, having put that in place, it's I think it's just knowing it, yeah, like knowing it's there has been good for
Yeah.
them. Um, so yeah, look, the other thing that we've done is try to help others as well. So every quarter we focus on a charity or something to support, and give and do a fundraiser for.
Hmm.
We've got someone in marketing who's amazing at organising all that sort of thing, and she's organised, like we did a run. So the teams in different locations did runs. We did push-up challenges. There's a whole lot of different things that we do just take your mind somewhere else.
Yeah.
So back in February last year, we just merged the businesses together, became Inspired. 19 days into that, my uncle took his life, and no one just didn't know about it. Like, it didn't even see it coming, and that's been really tough for all our family, and it's just been really tough. And my brother was the one who found him, and I remember my brother saying to me, he said, I've been thinking, this is, just after it had happened, a couple of days later, he's like, I really want to get some shirts that talk about this. And and I said, yeah, cool, let's have a look at them. And so you may be, I'm sure everyone's asking, why am I wearing a crazy shirt? I got heaps of shirts. I got the pansies. I got all sorts of ones. I've got the Coit shirt, but on the back it has this is a
Yeah.
conversation starter. And so and it's about starting conversations with people, because you just don't know what people are going through.
Mm.
Someone can look, and our uncle was life of the party. He was the stirrer upper. Uh, yeah, you just would not have seen
Mm.
it coming. And so it's been really tragic for our family, and I'm just so grateful for all the support around
Mm.
that. And like even Leon, like the whole team has just been great. They just stepped in 19 days in,
Yeah.
and they just handle it. But it's also gave me a passion to then talk to people about this stuff. And I can remember that Australia Post was delivering these shirts, and this is from a company called Trademark. Um,
Yeah.
and there's women's and men's and kids and everything. And each shirt that you do goes towards a counselling thing as well, so you can call. And it's a real issue. It's a massive issue. Like the stats at the moment globally is, I think one person every 40 seconds takes their life globally.
Yeah.
And it's just tragic. And just tragic. I'm not going to cry on Facebook Live, on LinkedIn Live.
No, but it shows that it is a real issue and it
mm,
impacts more people than we think, not just directly, but
yeah,
also indirectly.
yeah,
When a family member chooses to take their life, or in my case, my best friend, it impacts you years down the track.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not something that you just um, get over, like, okay, yeah,
No.
that was really nasty, let's not talk about that anymore. It is good to talk about this, and it is good to lift it out of the taboo
Mm,
area. And your Loud and Larry shirts are a really good conversation starter.
mm,
But I did not know that every shirt that is purchased also goes towards
yeah,
counseling. So
yeah.
is it like a fundraiser, or is it how does that work? Is there a charity behind it?
No, so these two guys, Dan and Ned, they lost the owners of Trademark. They lost a guy that they worked with on the construction site. So they just make these shirts, and they have a thing called TX, the TX hotline,
Hmm.
and the people can call a mobile number and get someone to talk to. So in every shirt, so just goes towards supporting. They've got professionals behind that as well, and
Hmm.
supporting that. So you pay, I think, about $65 for a
Yeah.
shirt, unless it's on sale. So yeah, but if I can just go back to the Australia, so I had Australia Post deliver this, right?
Hmm.
So we just got back from my auntie's house, and I knew this shirt was coming today, and it turns up, and the guy goes, he comes and gives it to me, and I said, I need to show you what's in this bag. And he probably thought I was crazy. Most people do, and that's okay. So I open up the Australia Post bag in front of him, and I open like something like this, a big bright shirt. And I told him, I said, we lost my uncle a couple of weeks ago. We had no idea. And my brother and I are wearing these as much as we can to just get the word out there and get conversations happening. Um, and uh, and so he opened up to me, basically saying, "This is like just the postie, right? Just doing his job." And he said, "I've been suffering from depression for 3 years. I haven't told anybody." Um, and I just told him simple words of Uncle. I just said, "Mate, I just want you to know that you are valued and you're loved."
Mm.
Um, and he just bawled his eyes out in front of me on my pavement. And I don't think people hear that enough.
Mm.
And I think it's really important that people hear that. It's not fluffy. It's people need to hear that. So yeah, we wear these every Friday in our workplaces. I've turned up to big meetings with, you know, big professional meetings, and I've turned up and you start a conversation.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh wow, everyone laughs at you. They go, ha, ha, yeah, it is the conversation starter. And then you get you get the seriousness around it, and you go, this is why.
Yeah.
And the more and more people I talk to, the more and more people, it is such a big issue. Um, but like you said before, Monkey, you said you lost your best friend. Um, like just terrible, absolutely terrible. And I think the grief is just unlike anything I've experienced. Like, um, yeah, so many questions.
Mm.
And if we can have a conversation with someone that stops and helps and encourages, um, then it's very little cost to us. And this is such an important issue because I was speaking to another guy. He said he called Beyond Blue. They said
Hmm.
they're too. He said that they said to him they're too busy, and they referred him to Lifeline.
Hmm.
And that's nothing against Beyond Blue. I'm just saying they're exhausted.
Yeah.
Lifeline was
It's the fact
engaged.
that they are so busy that they have to do that.
Yeah, Lifeline was engaged.
Mm.
Couldn't get through. This guy had, I won't go through the details, but he had some tough stuff going on.
Mm.
He ended up reaching out to our church and getting into a men's group, just the men's shed, just around
Yeah.
other blokes. And yeah, he's very passionate about this as well, because it's just like, yeah. And so I'm doing a half. Just, I know we're a bit all over the shop, but I'm doing a half marathon in July, and the whole running for me was about just trying to clear my head and just trying to be focused on a goal. And I thought, I've never had any aspiration to do a half marathon, but let's do it. And
Yeah.
then I went to register for it, and it said, "Do you want to associate yourself with a charity?" I'm like, "Cool, let's see if there's
Yes.
anything around suicide prevention. I'd love to help
Yeah.
someone." And so there was one called Livin', and so I'm doing a fundraiser. Within like 72 hours, I had $1,300 raised. And what these guys do um, is they go into schools and they teach youth about suicide facts and numbers, and they need to
Mm.
talk to people. And so why wouldn't I want to help them?
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, I'm waffling a bit.
No, 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 no. It's an important part, and it's an important conversation to have, and it's important for everybody to know. But it's also important to have this conversation within a business situation and a business scenario,
Yeah.
because I do feel very strongly that we need to have open and honest conversations.
Mm,
And these are the tough conversations to have. But when you build a culture in your company around your core values, um, and the core values are about honesty or we care for each other, then this has to be part of it as well.
mm.
So it's sort of like going back to send a letter to your 20-year-old self, like,
Yeah.
Brendan, if you are going to start a company, what are the things that you need to focus on? It is, the profit first stuff. It is watch your books, be clear on your why, be very clear on your culture, your core values, who you hire and why, but also on your team culture,
Yeah.
motivating mental health. It's not
Mm,
just physical health, but it's
mm.
mental health. We are one
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
It's one thing. So I think you've covered the whole holistic gamma of what it means to be a a focused, good, healthy entrepreneur, and
Yeah.
you're not afraid to have the difficult conversation. So
Thank
yeah,
you. I think there's a lot more to still be done, and I think if anything has been achieved, I just hope that um, and I've had a couple of conversations already, so I know it has made an impact. But I just hope my team, anyone in the team, or my friends, or my connections, would just know if they need to chat, come talk to me.
yeah,
I called a guy the other day who's just lost someone very close to him, and we just ended up like there was not many words. We were just crying with each other, and then and that just meant the world to him. To
yeah,
know knowing someone who's been through it, and you go deep you just understand where each other's coming from. So
yeah,
we are all people. We're not machines. We're not numbers on a seat. And people in organizations, um, uh, and I think that's what a modern day leader is. I think a modern day leader
mm,
needs to be in touch with everyone has stuff going on. You are not the center of attention, like just one person. Like everyone has stuff going on, and how can we help each other, and how
yeah,
can we um, so yeah, it's been a massive wake up
yeah,
call.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the other thing that you're also very good at, and it's a bit of a change of pace, you are very good at work-life balance,
Am I?
because we have to
Oh,
close this because you are on your way to Toowoomba to be a judge at a meat judging competition.
shameless
Now,
plug, shameless plug.
up until today, I'm a vegan, remember? So I don't eat meat anymore. So up until today, I had no idea that there was a thing called meat judging. So enlighten me.
Yeah, so I love smoking meat. That sounds really dodgy, but that's fine. I'm going to go with that. I love smoking meat. I love doing briskets. I've got a smoker at home. I won my first barbecue off a radio station. I got it back home. My poor wife, Louise, she didn't know. Good change of topic. She didn't know what time she was going to be eating dinner, because I was trying to cook these steaks on
Mhm.
this smoker. How do you light this thing? There's no gas to it. It's charcoal, and I'm like, what do I do with this thing? I think it was 11 o'clock. You know, We ate dinner that night. I finally got it working. I finally got the heat beads lit. Um, uh, I've just lost all credibility, haven't I? And I just started. I just loved it. I loved the taste, and I loved the experience and the challenge. Um, yeah, so I then got a bigger smoker. I saw that there was a bigger one, like huge, and I could smoke multiple things, and so I got that, and then I got another smoker. So yeah, I love smoking meat and briskets and all sorts of things. And a family friend of ours is one of the head judges for the Australasian Barbecue Alliance, and yeah, just got into to doing meat judging. So uh, you can do a judging course, and then you just get to eat meat. It's really, really tough. But these guys are cooking all night. It's serious stuff. Like
Yeah, it's serious business.
it really is. And so yeah, and you're just tasting. So you're judging based on taste, texture, and appearance.
Hmm.
Um, at some of these events, there's 40 to 50 judges, and so you have different tables, and you try. They present it nicely and that sort of thing. And yeah, there's so Meat Stock Toowoomba is where I'm going. We've got Lee Kertigan going to be there Saturday night, and I'm about to hit the road and head up there.
Fantastic. So I do hope you realize that after today's chat, you are in desperate need of updating your LinkedIn profile, because there is so much more to Brendan Gibson than just being excited about IT infrastructure
Thank
and
you.
technology. So thank you so much, Brendan, for your radiant appearance. I think I was looking for the word. Thank you for your guidance and expertise around cybersecurity, profit first, opening the conversations, building a open and honest culture and a performance driven culture in your organization, and the fact that there is a thing called meat judging.
Absolutely.
So, if people do want to check in with you and have a chat with you, your LinkedIn profile is BGIBSO. So it's on the slide. I found your link on the Profit First Professionals website, but I will also make a note of Profit Transformer, which is your Profit First consulting business. So that's how people can get in touch with you, unless you know of a better way for them to reach out.
No, that's beautiful, and I really appreciate you having me here today. It's a real privilege.
Fabulous. Well, don't go anywhere. I'm going to close the stream now, but we can have a quick chat, and I will be back next week Thursday morning at 8 o'clock with another friend, another person,
Tune in.
expert. It'll be amazing. Thank
Yeah.
you.